Hey, what's up, guys? Ibranovski here for FL Studio and on live from Dancefair. I'm gonna do a run through my one of my latest tracks called Snackbox, which was released on Stamped Records from Marty Garrix. Actually, the project itself, I made this song a few hours before EDC Vegas. I wanted to send it out to a couple of DJ friends, and I missed one kind of banger. And within approximately like 2 hours, I had a total new record, which became this song. I'm gonna play this record for a bit so you can get familiar with it. All right, cool. At first, I started with a vocal. It was in the break.
Turn up the boombox, I want to hear the tape hiss.
This is the vocal. On processing, I have a Camel Crusher, which I most frequently use. The plugin is for free. You can download it online. It's actually like a compressor distortion plugin, which I use on a lot of my channels to get a quick compression to my sample or audio wave file. I have a stereo shaper, which makes the vocal a little bit more stereo. I love working with the stereo field. I think the bass and the kick always have to be mono, and I love to have all the rest of the sounds in my music to be very dynamic. So I like using this plugin from FL Studio itself, and I have Fruity Delay on it to create this cool effect.
Turn up the boombox, I want to hear the tape hiss.
It just like fades away properly.
Turn up the boombox, I want to hear the tape, tape. Want to hear the turn up the boombox, I want to hear the tape. Want to hear the.
So this part, I added a clap, and I have this significant melody, which I made in Massive. Let me see where that one is. It's super basic, and yeah, that's actually also the reason why this record was finished so quickly. And I love simple stuff. It doesn't mean that I don't make complicated music, but I love making records in an up-tempo way, so you don't get bored, and they get familiar with the hook, and so the track becomes very catchy. This is the melody. I used the Massive. It was actually like, I guess it was some Future House kind of preset, which I just tweaked a bit, getting off the release and stuff. If you look on processing, I only used a stereo shaper on it, so not much. But I have all these tracks which are in the record. They are like leveled properly, so everything has its own space within the mix. Then I have some of these sirens through the break. They just give a little bit of a atmosphere to the break, to the breakdown, so it doesn't like sound empty at all. If you go straight forward to the build up, there's this vocal I pitched down and stretched out, so it gives this cool ghetto-ish vibe to it. It's a rap line, and I have sub, which I trigger at the root note, so it has at the, I guess at 8 bars it just pitches up. And for the pitch up, I use the sound shifter pitch from Waves. But as I see at this particular one, this sample was already pitched from the mid. So actually I made this, I guess, in another DAW called Logic Pro, because that was the DAW I used before FL Studio, but I really enjoy my new workflow in FL. So you can hear like the sub is having a slightly minor pitch up. So if we have a look on the drop, it has this vocal in it. And this is like a sample I found in a pretty basic pack from Vengeance. And I placed it like it triggers every time it triggers again. So the vocal doesn't finish, so you have this kind of like sucking effect to it. And on the second part of the drop, I have this vocal. That's also how I cut it up and screwed it up a bit, so it has the same effect as the first part. But it gives another dynamic to the song. I have this bass shot at the first bar. Let me check. 22. It's a serum called Bass Atom. It was a cool preset I found. Just tweaked a little bit and put it in. It does the job for like the first impact on the drop. Then you have this. This is like a reversed raw style kick. I always like from back in the days. I always had the big sense of connection with hardstyle and raw style music, and in this project I used the raw style kick not as a kick but as a snare, which I made in a groove like reggaeton music does or dembow music, and that resulted in something like this. So this is the raw style top kick, which I shortened up, and at that point I gave it a little bit of a float. On processing on this one, I have a Camel Crusher, equalizer, get a little bit rid of the lows, stereo shaper, equalizer to boost up the highs a bit, and a Nicky Romero Kickstart sidechain, and a little bit of equalizing within the mixer itself. What did I miss? The bass line. Bass line is over here. I guess it was kind of like a drum and bass kind of sub, which I processed a bit into the mix. Mid bass, yeah, it was from a drum and bass preset pack, which I tweaked a little bit as well. And at that point I put it on a Camel Crusher effector from FL Studio itself. Here I use the phaser. When I put on a phaser on the bass, it just sounds a little bit more fat. I don't know what this was the Pro Q2. I don't know why it doesn't work at this moment. The kickstart from Nicky Romero and the equalizer for getting rid of a little bit of a high. This all made the drop how it is today. So it doesn't have a lot of how you say, like, it doesn't have a lot of elements, but that was also the cool gimmick of this song. And it was so easily to understand. So if we look into the fills of this song, it was actually like the first version I had this sample of a rapper I sampled in for the parts for the fills. Actually, we changed it up during the release of the song, that part. And at the end of this drop, I just pitched the vocal octave down and the other vocal as well. So it has a minor change, but it twists up the song for exactly the amount it needed for me while building the song. And yeah, that's actually a bit how I made this project. It's not that complicated. This part is actually pretty much the same as the first part, and the drop rhymes at the second part are actually probably the same as well. So yeah, it was a very quick song, and very happy how it turned out, and gained a lot of support. And I love making music like this. I'm not that big of a fan of problem solving all the time. I like easy, good music. So yeah. If we look into the second drop, you can hear it's like slightly the same. This is actually the same. Yeah, if you look what I did on mastering, actually I always work with a FabFilter Pro L on my master, which doesn't do anything. And I have an endless smell for the climb, for like building up the tension, like filtering off the low frequencies while in the build up. And I use the new tone from FL Studio just to make sure everything I use in my song is in key. Produce, like a lot of people ask me why my music is like so loud, but I produce like very loud, and so that's the reason why it's so loud. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed my run through my project, and I want to thank FL Studio for handling me this great piece of software. I love working it. It's like my baby. I work every day into my DAW, which is FL Studio, as I already said. And I want to thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something, and see you soon, man. Peace.